Hi everyone, Shadwell back for yet another YouTube video. I'm on a roll here. Today I'm making big mugs. In the mugs I've made in the past have been kind of small, more of your little single shot of coffee. This is for your big heavy coffee drinkers. On these guys I try to go large with some nice chattering. I use the obsidian glaze, which is part of the Celadon series from Amico, with some color variations on here. And then I've also did some that had a little spiral technique here, just kind of using that rib tool to kind of make a little spiraling on this as well. So let's walk through how I make these really big mugs, and I can make a couple of these pretty quickly these days. So here's my process of making large mugs.
Okay, so I have been accused of making mugs that are too small, and my hardcore coffee drinker fans demanded bigger mugs, so I'm making big mugs. These are probably, I don't know, starting with 1.5 pounds to 1.75 pounds worth of clay, maybe a little less than that. But anyway, my goal here is to make tall, big mugs, which I bought a whole bunch of these little square plastic bats, which are just great for popping these guys off as soon as they're done, and then move on to the next one. So I'm going to show you how I made 2 of these, and they're pretty much starting out the same way. I just try to get some height while not letting it flare out too much, using my rib tools to kind of smooth out that outside as much as I possibly can. And on this one, I think I'm going to come through and make a little spiral on this guy, which is kind of fun too. So I'm just kind of getting my outside surface kind of cleaned up here, and I'll slow the video down here so you can see this move of just really confidently just grabbing the bottom edge, using the edge of that thing and just going up nice and smooth, and then holding it at the top for a second, and then that's it. So it kind of makes a really cool little spiral pattern on the side. I come back in afterward and just kind of clean up the inside, because you don't want that spiral pattern to kind of transfer on the inside. So I'm making another one here. Again, you can see over on the side there, I've just got a whole lot of these balls pre-wedged, and I'm just going through. And when you're making coffee mugs, if you're making one, you might as well make 20. I mean, it's just one of those things where if you're going to spend this time, make a whole lot of them, because I mean, making mugs are fun, but I hate making handles and attaching. It's just kind of more work than just throwing something and then trimming it later on. But anyway, I'm going through here again. I'm just trying to get some height out of these guys. Making them pretty tall. These ended up, of course, when you make these guys, they shrink, and you have to remember that they shrink, because it seems like this is a huge mug, and it is, and it ends up being a big mug, but it's not as big as this is going to be. I mean, this is really, I think on this one I tried to do the little swirl thing too, and I screwed it up, but luckily you can just smooth it back out. But anyway, these guys shrink by 10 to 14% depending on the clay that you're using. So what may seem like on the wheel like is a giant mug. Here I go. I'm trying for this. Whoop. Yeah, just smooth that guy back out. That's fine. This one doesn't need to have the spiral. We'll make some chatter tools on this one. Anyway, so it comes time to trim this guy. I get to show off my new tool. I bought a Giffin Grip, which is just an amazing tool if you're just going to be trimming all the time. And now that I have my own little studio set up in my basement, the amount of time I would spend like centering an object and putting the little clay pieces around it, and it really wouldn't hold it that well. This guy is just so great. So it holds pieces in the center every time. You don't have to worry about tapping it to the middle. It just does it on its own. It's got the little pieces that you can put up top, so if you want to hold it up higher, it doesn't ever really fall off. It's so nice, and it centers it perfectly every single time. So it's really a nice little tool to have, and I highly recommend if you're going to be one of those people that just throws a lot and is going to end up trimming a lot, it's a great tool to have. So putting this guy upside down, I'm just going to trim a little foot on this, and again, because it's bigger, it's got a pretty deep foot. So I'm just going to come through here, make sure everything's nice and clean and smoothed over. And then I'm going to end up, I think this is the one I do the chattering on, because this is the one that does not have the spiral on it, I'm almost positive. So again, with this Giffin Grip, it's really nice because it can hold platters really wide too. Sometimes platters, they want to come flying off, or tall vases. I have a lot of like bottles that I want to throw, and it's hard because they have such a narrow spout to really hold them on here. So you can see that I just turned the little feet around, and now it's going to hold at the base, so I can do some chattering on this. And I'm just going to put some chatter marks on there. That turned out really well. And then you just spin it in the opposite direction to kind of open it up. So it's really nice. Again, I pre-made some handles. I wasn't really happy with the handles on this one. I have a little tool that I can run through a piece of clay, and it makes a little handle shape. And it's okay if you're doing quick handles, I guess. But pulling handles really is the best way to go. If you're going to make handles, you should really just pull them. But it takes time to do. And sometimes, I don't know, if you're doing a whole lot of mugs, sometimes it's easier to just run this little tool through and just get some okay handles and just put them on in an interesting way. So you can see here I'm kind of like going over the top of this one and like having to come up high and then back down a little again. And it's always good to look at your handles from 3 points. You want to kind of look at it dead on from above and from the side to make sure it kind of looks good in all of those angles. So On this one, I kind of got a little ambitious and went a little too fast and bent it too much, so I just ripped off the top there. And then that's the other good thing about having handles that are this long. If you mess up, you have way more clay than you need. So I'm coming back in. I'm just going to go right on this one, smoothing it out. And it's best to just let this sit. I should really just let it sit for a while before I attach the bottom. But again, because I'm doing so many, I'm kind of rushing here. But it worked out all right. So again, keeping track of where this attaches and how much space there is between your knuckles and the mug is important too. I really don't like handles that go really far out because they're awkward to hold, and I kind of want my hand to be closer to the mug as I'm holding it. So a lot of times I'll come back through and kind of hold it as I'm making it to see what it looks like. So anyway, all my mugs, I did 2 coats of obsidian, which is a really black Celadon glaze, and then added some subtle hints of color using this one. I used PC59 deep fire brick to give it that little red, and then a little trail of ancient jasper on top. The spiral one, I added a little bit of chun plum to give it a little purple taste, and again, that little ancient jasper on the rim just adds some little details on the rim there as well. So anyway, I hope you like these mugs. They're nice and big. If you like a lot of coffee, these are the mugs for you. Click on my subscribe up there to subscribe to my channel and keep watching because I still have more videos to show. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.